All right, welcome to late night yoga how-to. This is my after hours reflection tonight about something that came up during the 300 hour. We had a guest teacher from New Mexico come, and her name is Shanti Kaurakalsa, and she has been teaching yoga since 1972. I have no idea how old she is because her vitality is just one of those, she's one of those people who's just alive. And she knew what she wanted to do from a very young age. I think she was pretty young when she started teaching yoga. And a lot of the people in the training, they're at this point in the training where it's like they're 3 months away from the end of the training, and it's starting to get into that place of what's next? And what have I done with my life? What am I doing with my life? And all these big questions. And when we had a check-in after the weekend, several of them couldn't help but like feel a sense of comparison around how did she know what she was going to be doing at such a young age. And uh, it just got me thinking about a couple things. um, Obviously the comparison is the thief of joy, that old adage. How that translates into yoga, I think a couple of ways. Like we can practice a parigraha, like non-grasping. What are we trying to grasp? What are we trying to be? And I think comparison is active in a life for us in the ways that we also struggle to practice santosha or samtosha, like the idea of contentment, which is always a tricky one for me because in practice, we are striving, we're always doing more. But again, that balance, the two wings of the bird of yoga, right? The abhyasa and the vairagya, the practice and the detachment. So in this kind of like, I don't know, cosmology of yoga, you've got these kind of cerebral ideas of a parigraha, like noticing when we're comparing, realizing we're just grasping, trying to recenter through samtosha and getting content, but also counterbalancing that with recognizing that like we do need to strive in our practice and we need to surrender. We need to allow grace to come in. And I think that the space where those two tend to overlap can be conditioned through the techniques of our practice via drishti. Where are we paying attention? What are we paying attention to? When it feels like we are less than, when it feels like we have nothing left to give, what we still have control of, hopefully, and hopefully this is what, and the meditation helps in yoga with, is where do we consciously place our drishti, our attention with control. I can tell you that the last few weeks, meditation has been elusive for me in a consistent sense, and it's been pulling my vrittis down into places that I'm interfacing with old samskaras in ways where I'm just like, I don't actually need this lesson right now. This is a distraction. This is something that isn't. This is strangely a comparison of my old stories of awfulization and catastrophization, if I could use those words. So for me, focusing the drishti has to do not just with the stuff of what I'm paying attention to off the mat, but having a dedicated practice to where I'm using my pranayama meditation to excavate old patterns, old vrittis, to fill in old samskaras so I can get out of those grooves and get into new ones, ones of my choosing, ones that are in service to myself and others. And so to wrap it up, I'll just say that like one thing I could tell the students in solace around their sense of awe, as Shanti seemed to be like this complete person all the while and from the get-go. And though I didn't know her then, I knew she wasn't always the way she is now. I know that for a fact. And I also know that even now, after the text she was sending, the stuff that shows up on the resume that's impressive and admirable, that's not the stuff that she pays attention to in her life. The same way that she made such a huge impact in their life is the same way that they made an impact in her life. that they were so willing and vulnerable to be in the practice with detachment so that something special could arise. So some magic could show up for all involved. And I know that that's kind of the gift that she takes away, and why she does what she does, and now, not just why she knew she was directed then. So just a little story for you today, and I'd love to hear in the comments below, what are some ways in which the chaos of life is slowly seducing you into comparison right now, and in what ways do you recognize it, and are you steadfast with your practices so that you are pulling yourself up out of those vrittis before they ground you back into old samskaras that aren't part of your path now. So, thanks for listening.